Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, everyone.
Today we're discussing something that's very important that I wanted to bring my wonderful wife, Eliana, in to discuss, which is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, which is how to support your spouse in his or her career.
Okay.
And I think that Eliana has some really great insight into this. When I started my company, she was there since day one. She was there way before I decided to start my company. She was there through all the difficult times that made me want to start and change my career.
Exactly.
And I think that she, as a wonderful, supportive wife and woman, has tons of insight to share into this. So Eliana, why don't you take it away?
After seeing my husband unhappy for a long time in his job, I started feeling like, you know what? I don't care if he starts something new and that's it. Like, I don't care to give it up, even though he had a stable job. I didn't care to start from the beginning. And I thought maybe we're gonna struggle a little bit, but I rathered him. I wanted to see him happy. It came to a point that it wasn't working anymore. Even though he was okay, he was stable, he came home and he was always insecure and he was not so happy. So I told him, you know what, it's time. It's time for you to start something new.
Bam, I remember that day.
Do you remember?
I think the pain and the fear of starting something new and having the unknown was actually less than the pain that was coming from my previous job.
Exactly.
Right, would you agree?
100%.
So I said, I'd rather, you know what, it seemed like stability on one hand because I had a 6-figure salary, I had a promising future, but it came to a point where there wasn't stability because I wasn't the master of my own life.
He wasn't happy. And even if you are in a job that you're happy, but you're also not making to support your family, your wife cannot go and buy what she needs or to go and get food, it's something that it's gonna bring stress to the house.
We have a question here from Penny Friedman. He says, what's the best way to keep your wife motivated when things take longer than expected? So it's a good question, right? You know, your wife doesn't really care what's going on. She wants to make sure that when she goes to the grocery store, when she swipes that card, that things are going to happen and she's going to be able to buy what she needs for the family, right? So it's hard. He's absolutely right. It's hard to explain to your wife why things are taking a long time. And to that, Penny, I would answer that you have to just reassure her and tell her that things are going to be okay. And at the end of the day, you're doing your best. And that there is another player here, God, who's also involved. Yeah. And as long as
also sometimes there was times that I remember that it was tough because when he stopped his job, he left his job. It was hard, you know. And sometimes I didn't know what we could afford and we couldn't afford, and it was very stressful, very stressful. So, and my husband Berel thought that maybe if he only told me it's gonna be okay, I would feel better. But really, what we want to hear is we want to know really, like, it's important for a woman to know the numbers, you know, for them to know what we could do and what we can't do. So we're not like in a limbo. We're not like, you know, like it's important for you to be honest with her and tell her, look, I'm going to do my best. What I'm doing now, I'm going to do my best, but here are the numbers.
If your wife is happy and in a good mood, then you in turn are going to be happy and in a good mood. And if your wife is miserable, you're going to be miserable. Happy wife, happy life.
When you move jobs, when you go to a different job, not only you're going through a big change and it's very stressful for you, but also the wife is going through a big change. And sometimes men, they feel so stressed, but they don't realize that the wife is also going through a big change. So my advice is you have to be very patient because it's a big change for her also. When Berel changed his job, he used to be in a very low-key kind of job. He used to be in the metal business and he didn't have to make noise. He didn't have to be on social media. Actually, Berel, when he was in Globe Metal, where he used to work, he told me one time, he said, you know what, I don't want to have Facebook anymore. It distracts me from everything. I don't want to have. He didn't even have Instagram at that moment. I don't want to have Facebook. So I said, okay, great. He used to be that kind of guy. He used to be focused on the metal. And that's it, you know? That's who I met when I married him. And all of a sudden, when he moved and he changed a different,
She got a shock.
I was very shocked to see this new Berel, you know? It was a different person.
Berel 2.0!
he had to be very loud, and he had to bring out his big personality.
Why think I'm loud?
I mean,
I'm just joking.
he has to be loud with social media, no?
You're doing great, yes. Keep on
It
going,
was
sorry.
very hard for me. It was very hard for me because I'm a very quiet person. I'm a very, I don't want people to know what we're doing all the time. I'm a very quiet person, and for me, it was very hard, very hard.
I had to pay her to be on this live.
No, actually, it's very weird that I'm in the live. I never did anything like this before, and it was hard for me to sit down. I was very nervous before I came. We went to Panama, and he would go from office to ask people. He knocked on people's doors, and he knocked on people's door, and he asked them if he wants the commercial, like
In Spanish.
he wanted to see what.
No hablo español. Okay?
So at that moment, he was taking videos of everything, and I was like, I remember we were eating lunch together, and he was taking a video of himself talking. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I was like, to be honest, I wasn't used to this person, to this new person, and I was a little bit embarrassed what people were gonna say. I'm gonna be honest. Now it's different. Now, I'm very much more comfortable. And I was asking him, what are you trying to do? Also, the world changed.
Yeah.
It didn't used to be like this before, that people would go on live and go and put videos. Before, it wasn't like this. And now it's more common, right? But before, I was like, what are you doing this? And I was insecure also. I was like, no, don't post. I don't want people to see what we're doing, what you're doing. It was hard. And it was very hard.
I think one of the reasons, which you never spoke about, one of the reasons why Eliana was scared for me to post and be so honest is because we didn't know if it was going to work or not. So when I went into this new business, I said to myself, I'm burning the ships behind me. I have no choice but to succeed. I'm going big or I'm going home. And if I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail big. All right, we have another question. How do you support your husband and make sure that he is staying positive even when things are getting tough?
Okay. When I was insecure and when I was telling him, why are you doing this, why are you doing that, and like that, he wasn't doing so well at that moment. As soon as I stopped questioning him and being upset, and I just let him do what he wants to do and just
trusted me.
Trust. And also, even if your husband is not so brilliant, even if he's not doing so well, if the woman is happy for him and if the woman shows him support, he's gonna do good. Trust me. He's going to succeed.
It's true. I just want to mention on that note, I know people who are brilliant people and their wives do not support them, and I know and they're not successful. I know people who are completely ignoramuses and their wives support them and they're successful.
Yes.
So important. Your wife is
the blessing comes from the wife.
100%. 100%. Don't tell your wife what you're going to do. Ask her if what you want to do is okay. God bless, guys. Have a great day.
Guys.
Support your spouse.
All the best.
Love your spouse. And let's make our marriages great again.